Gringo by Bobby Grace. If this were a 12-step program, I'd probably start with hello. My name is Bobby, and I'm a gringo. I stay in a Ketchi River aldea, a handful of degrees north of the equator, that was cut from the river's edge by several generations of strong backs and working hands. The Ketchi are a people as old as the earth that spawned them, the largest of the surviving Mayan tribes. In a history that predates the upstart Christians by a few thousand years, their time here on this river is relatively short, about 4 or 5 generations so far. Not long ago, the people who live here were driven from their native hills and verdant farms to support the expansion of First World agriculture and mineral interests. Decades of deliberately fomented chaos and violence finally resulted in many of the surviving Ketchi throwing up their hands and saying, "Fuck this," ultimately grabbing up their shit and leaving their beloved lands behind to build this place here, in the tranquility of an unpopulated edge of a remote jungle river. Sorry about all the butt pain, fellas, but I'm glad you got here to figure this shit out before I showed up. I never could have pulled it off by myself. I have the privilege to sit with these men. Listen to their stories, each carrying the echo of the same stories told by our Irish or Jewish or First Tribe fathers and grandfathers. Some told with humour, others with sadness or bitterness. Stories of great love and greater sacrifice. A guy doesn't always have to know the language to know the story. I have gained a reserved and limited acceptance into their company when we are just being men together, over drinks, enjoying the freshening breeze and gathering darkness in this particular patch of jungle. Men with stories and histories, tattoos and scars to prove them, comparing the night's drink with those we've had in the past, speaking easily of the beauty of the women we've known. Just men. Pro soy gringo, but I am gringo. It ain't like a guy can hide a thing like that. I've got a beard, ponytail, and more body hair than any 4 men of the village. Simply navigating my 6-foot 2-inch white-skinned frame around in a 5-foot 5-inch brown-skinned world tends to attract attention. I bumble about hither and yon, knocking my own hat off, smashing my forehead into the frames of hobbit-sized door frames, snagging tarps in the market, and knocking down overhead displays in the tiendas and mercados. "You're not from around here, are you, boy?" "No, sir, I'm not, but my big gringo ass is here now. I question whether or not I will ever be as graceful on the water as mis vecinos. Hell, my gringo center of gravity is about a foot higher off the bottom of the launcher than my Ketchi buddies. They walk the gunnel of a moving launcher as easily and agilely as a Ringling Brothers tightrope walker, while I flail about trying to move my 6-foot, 2-inch, 200-pound self around in a way that doesn't pitch my gringo ass in the water, tip the launcher, or require emergency reballasting. Since I've been here, I have been lucky enough to be invited to a few family fiestas in the aldea. At these gatherings of La Familia Grande, it appears customary to feed the gringos first. And gringo better goddamn well be hungry. Plates piled beyond NASA stress tolerances are pushed in front of us, accompanied by expectant looks and the promise of more should we manage to somehow subdue the mountain of food heaped in front of us. I can almost hear the women around the wood cook fire. "Those gringos are some big bitches. We better feed 'em up, or they might eat the children." There are a couple of things you've got to know when you're a gringo eating with neighbours. 1. You've got to eat all of it. Whatever they pile on your plate. It'd be rude if you didn't. The women have been working over the pollatone all day, and they ain't gonna tolerate insult. One glance at the mujer cutting the meat with a wood mallet and machete was all that was necessary for this gringo to get that message. And 2, you'd better damn well be quick about it, because they're people waiting for their turn at the table, and there are only so many spoons. You sit down, shovel it in, and get the fuck out of the way. Napkins? Unlikely, in spite of the fact that everything except the broth is picked from the soup and eaten with the fingers. Eventually a gringo learns how to use a tortilla. A guy can eat rice and beans with a tortilla, but he can't eat fried chicken with a spoon. These occasions are usually accompanied by fireworks, random gunfire, and hooting. All of which I enjoy immensely, and being a gringo doesn't present much of a disadvantage in those situations. Dancing, however, is a horse of a different colour. I've never been what you would call a good dancer. I'm enthusiastic, though, and it doesn't take much urging to make the Gringo dance. Folks here seem to appreciate the enthusiasm, and I'm pretty sure I overheard some of the vecinos commenting on my stunning moves. Chinga puta, what the hell is Gringo doing out there? I gyrate, flail about, and leap around in the midst of my familiar grande with the abandon the music here inspires. I don't know, but he sure looks like he's having a good time doing it. Uh-huh. The girls have been helpful. I think I'm getting better. But I'm still a Gringo. Too big, too white, and too hairy to pass. If you don't know what it means to pass, get off your ass and go make some black friends. Passar. To pass. The vocabulary of minority. Gringo needs that vocabulary here. I'll never be able to pass. With enough luck and effort, I hope to achieve a status like my buddy Texas Mike has. He doesn't pass, but he blends better than any Gringo I've met since I've been here. There are other Gringos of note. Not many, though. Those Gringos who've done more than just master the language. They respect the groove. They're comfortable with the differences. They embrace the common. Observe the cultural nuances. Engage in the life and rhythm of the community. Sharing life, not simply sharing geography and language. I watch these Gringos especiales as they move among the people of the aldea, and I see the way they are accepted, respected. Still Gringo, but more like the Gringo side of the family. I think I'm making progress, though. I have had my Chekchi friends step up to keep me from getting Gringoed. Most of the river works on a 2-tier price system. One price for vecinos, another price for Gringos. Being charged the higher price is referred to here by both locals and Gringos as being Gringoed. I don't have it happen too much anymore. Not here in the aldea anyway, where I drink nickel beers at the neighborhood tienda, just like the regular vecinos, and pay the same for a watermelon or a live chicken as everybody else does. Even the Colombians upriver a bit give me vecino prices. A guy's got to chalk that up in the win column. One time back in the 1970s, I was with a Navy buddy in Chicago, which is in America, for the geographically challenged. It was a time of racial tension and social unrest in America. We visited some friends of his. They lived down near a place called Cabrini Green. I don't remember which block. They're black. He's black. I wasn't. His homeboys weren't sure they wanted to be sharing their Colt 45 with Whitey, and made sure me and everybody else knew it. Jeffrey, damn it, not Jefferson, my buddy from Chicago, came to my rescue. He really ain't as white as he looks. Thanks, Jeff. I had a grand time. No matter what happens, there will always be some who see only the color of my skin, hear the foreign sound of their language struggling through my lips. Fucking Gringos, they will say. Fucking Gringos don't belong here. It's all right, guys. I get it. No offense taken. I'm new here, but this is not the first place I've ever been new at. I'm working on it. Maybe one day I won't be as Gringo as I look, either.